Let's talk about anecdotes. Anecdotes, such a powerful tool when it comes to presenting, communicating. I use it myself a lot. I can imagine you using anecdotes, but we have to talk about it in this short video, and I zoom specifically in on the anecdote part. Why? Because in workshops, coachings, trainings, I see a lot of people having the misconception that adding an anecdote to what you're saying, let's focus on the presentation, to your presentation, which is for the rest very informative, that the anecdotes will magically turn it into a story, will make it more entertaining, and will be the key to turning what is pretty boring for the rest of the presentation, will turn it into something entertaining because you start with an anecdote or you put it in there somewhere. That is not the case. An anecdote doesn't mean that it's storytelling. It's a little story, yes, in itself, but it is not the holy grail of I just put it on there and all of a sudden it becomes a story. The purpose of an anecdote, it has a purpose. It's not just that some speakers just use anecdotes. It has a purpose. The purpose of an anecdote is that whatever point you're trying to make is that you're showing to the audience through your anecdote, I have experienced this before. I have seen this. I have done this. I have learned this. It happened before. And because the audience is hearing that, they're like, okay, you become more credible and they trust you more because you are a person that apparently experienced this before with other clients, with other colleagues, with other friends. So it must be true. And I take your point more into consideration. That's the purpose of an anecdote. And yes, it can be entertaining. Yes, it can be emotional, interesting, all that stuff. But that's the pure purpose of an anecdote. But what happens with anecdotes that purpose goes away and that it has nothing to do again with storytelling is that people share an entire anecdote of what happened. Meaning, let's say, for example, you went on holiday. Instead of really toning it down to the essence, it mostly becomes like, yeah, we went to the airport, it was a really sunny day and we're really pumped up to doing it. You know, this is how it goes when you're going on holiday. It was quite busy because it wasn't a school holiday, but we were like, yeah, we will prep for this, no problem. So we went to security. Of course, security always goes a bit slow and you're like, I just want to get through it. But in the end, it all went fine. Then we had to wait for our plane, and on the plane, we sat really cramped because we took a low-cost airline. We thought we're never going to do this before. Blah, 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 blah. I'm exaggerating a bit, but even in business presentations, anecdotes are filled with details. They quickly lose structure and they give so much information that the audience is, I don't need this. I don't care about this. It distracts from the message that you're trying to give. Why? Because it's just like with holidays. If you take pictures on holiday, I wasn't there, so I can see 5 or 6 pictures when you come back home, but I don't want to see every single picture you took because it might sound hard, and even if you're family, I don't care about your holiday because I wasn't there, and I don't expect you to care about my holiday. I'm happy for you, but I don't care. It's the same with the anecdote. Great that it was fun for you. Great that you experienced it, but I wasn't there. So I want to see what can I learn from the anecdote, and let's move on. So that's the big trap a lot of people step into. They get the anecdote, they fill it up with details, and tell it in their complete form, because they have the misconception of, if I do it like that, the anecdote will turn my presentation into a story and make it more entertaining. No. So what you need to do is remember that the purpose of an anecdote is, I'm going to prove a certain point and that I've seen and experienced this before. That's what I'm going to get across. And then you ask yourself, if this is the point that I want to make in my presentation, this is the epiphany I had, the learning, the insight, the thing that I experienced that I want you to take home. Get that first. And then you think the best way to get that across could be an anecdote, because it's very necessary for me to show here that I experienced it before and I'm not just talking about it, but I actually lived it. Okay, use the anecdote. Then ask yourself, in which part of my whole, let's stay with the holiday, of my whole holiday, where does this epiphany moment, this learning happen? Is it when you left for holiday? Is it at the security? Is it on the plane? Is it when you arrived on your destination? Is it in the hotel? I don't know where, but see that for yourself. And if you then answer, well, it was actually on the plane. Okay, on the plane. This is where your focus needs to be. What happened on the plane? And yes, it can be with details and you can tell in a very entertaining way, but all that holiday, security, we taught this, we did that. Get it out. You're wasting time and you're distracting people from the point you're trying to make. So start when you board the plane and then move to the point where it actually happened that you want to talk about. Tone it down. Remove the clutter. Like I said, it will save you time because your anecdote, if you have, for example, a 30-minute speech and you have that entire anecdote, it will take you 5 to 7 minutes. Tone it down to the part that actually matters, that we care about, and you have an anecdote of 1 or 2 minutes. Gives you more time to tell other anecdotes or other data or points that you want to make. Doesn't stress you out because you get in a time strain like, oh my God, I took too much time. And on the other hand, people aren't distracted and they're like, yes, I get it. So hopefully keep using them. But next time you're building a presentation, don't say, I need anecdotes. I'm going to start with an anecdote. Start by saying, what are the points I want to make? And which point do I want to show people that I experienced it before? Well, there I'm going to insert an anecdote. Okay, what part of my anecdote is this point actually happening, or I've experienced it, or I'm learning it? That's the part of my anecdote of my holiday, for example, that I'm going to focus on. And then make it a very crisp can be very entertaining, but a crisp version. Make the point and move on. There you go. Hope it helps. So hope you switch that mindset, keep using it, but use it for a different purpose and get that point across. I was Marnik van den Broek. Hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe for more communication, storytelling, public speaking, and everything that has to do with it. Content. Bye-bye.
Are you listening? Damn.